What's up? I'm back. This segment, I'm going to talk about catching colds or what does it mean? A lot of people ask me about catching colds. I'm going to keep it short and quick. Most people catch about 3 to 6 colds a year. It's far too high. Usually, you probably catch it in the winter or fall months or the colder months of the year. But even if you just label it to fall and winter, 3 to 6 colds a year is a lot. And in a way, when you look at it from a certain aspect, you probably should be catching probably one should be none, but let's say you do catch a cold, probably one cold a year. And even if you catch 2 colds a year, which is still borderline, it's really more about how quickly you get rid of it. If you catch a cold and you get rid of it in 1 to 3 days, your immune system is functioning fairly well. You catch a cold and it takes 2 3 weeks a month sometimes to get rid of it. Your immune system is not functioning at the capacity it should be. Why that's important is because beyond just the physical, health is really about a balance between the mind, body, and spirit. So usually when you're getting sick, it shows an imbalance in the mind and in the energy bodies, which you would call the astral, etheric bodies. And in a sense, if there's an imbalance in the energy bodies, what happens is the last stage when it comes down to the physical, that's the last part of it. So it's almost like the mind, spirit. It's kind of like imagine like your chakras basically going down, messed up, and then the last manifestations is the body or the lower chakras. So usually what happens is when you get rid of the manifestation of the lower chakras or the lower part of or the fifth or the physical body per se, um, what happens then is that the cold still is there, still there in a sense because the symptoms or what I shouldn't say the symptoms, the cause of the cold is still in the mental and spiritual bodies. So usually what happens is when you catching 3 to 6 colds a year, a cold, to be honest, it's a big deal only in the sense that you'll probably have a disruption on your actual bodies and the mental bodies that you're not even countering or that you're not even factoring in, I should say. Because you're not factoring that in, you probably it can set the stage up for bigger illnesses if you don't fix that problem. And in a sense, for instance, a good example in Chinese medicine, they used to label a cold as two types: wind heat and wind cold, right? And what that meant was if you're because they understood that illnesses was directly related to the wind element, and they didn't even know about bacteria and viruses like how we know it back then. So we know that a virus could travel through wind, bacteria as well. And sometimes that's why when somebody sneezes or coughs, you might breathe it in and catch it. So in a way, sometimes you can see why they associate a cold with the wind element. And it's interesting because when they have wind cold and wind cold is usually more of a chilling effect in your body against wind heat, which is more a straight, stronger fever. You more feel hot. It's funny because you can sometimes feel hot, but you could be shivering at the same time. But when cold is more like when the mucus is clear, when wind heat is more yellow. And in Chinese medicine, you would actually want to know which type of cold you have. So if you have wind heat, you take wind herbs that are associated more with, you know, correcting the wind heat imbalance. If you had wind cold, you would take herbs that are associated more with fixing the wind cold imbalance. Why that's important is because if you took the opposite, it can make it worse. So sometimes what happens as well is that we're not really connected to nature as we should, so we don't even know what to take for our colds sometimes. And especially when it's starting to go 2 3 weeks. I mean, a lot of people start to take antibiotics, which could be effective, but then it kills all bacteria in your body or a lot of the bacteria that shouldn't be killing. And then eventually, what happens anyway is that the bacteria starts to develop an immunity to it. So if you take, to me, antibiotics is more heavier medicine. You take that for a regular cold, you're setting yourself up for failure in the long run, and that's the key. So for the most part, catching colds, from my perspective, is not so much that the colds itself are dangerous, but it shows an imbalance in the mind that you're probably not addressing. And yeah, there's many remedies for catching colds. Many people have spoke about it, but I want people to look at this video and see that catching colds beyond just um, a sickness or illness that you have to take a remedy and get rid of. It shows an imbalance that you have to correct. And if you don't correct it, it will keep happening and it will manifest in something bigger. Because usually when you have an imbalance, when you have any disease, your body is telling you what you got to fix. So you catch 3 to 6 colds a year, it shows that there's a probably blockage or disharmony that's going on in your mental and spiritual bodies, and because of that, it's gonna trickle down to the physical. Of course, do you have to eat right? Of course, it shows your diet is messed up too, which most healers would mention that, and that's obvious. But usually, when your diet is messed up, it shows something with your mental and spiritual bodies, because for the most part, when your mind and spirit is in harmony, it craves a certain type of food. So even though you might have a little thing that you might like once in a while, when you're craving certain types of food, it shows a lot of what's going on in the mind and the spirit bodies. So I hope this helps. Until next time, peace.